I am a current freshman at the university. My name is Sydney Prechel, and I'm going to be discussing the harassment I faced at the Stevens Point campus of the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point throughout the past 4 months, as well as the university's negligence in handling said harassment. For those who don't know, my name is Sydney. I am a current freshman at the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. Unfortunately, I have been the victim of some severe online as well as in-person harassment by other students of the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. And throughout this situation, the university and its teams have been negligent on their part in attempting to resolve the harassment that has been involved with me. I feel it's important to say that online harassment is just as hurtful and just as vindictive as in-person harassment. I feel it's even more common now because of the animosity that people can get online. You don't necessarily need to have a picture of you or your first or your last name on a social media profile to access social media. So it becomes really comfortable for a lot of people to kind of go incognito and pretty much say whatever they deem appropriate online, regardless of the attention that they might receive due to the anonymity of said accounts. Unfortunately, this has been increasingly common even with people who do harass others online, and the fact that they can sign their legal first and last name. They can say what university they attend. They can feel comfortable enough that they likely will not face repercussions for abusive or vulgar language that they use online, especially directed towards others. Snapchat is a social media application that's known for its 24-hour deletion feature. It essentially is an app where a user can post a short video or an image, and in 24 hours it will be deleted. It's most commonly used, I'd say, for private and group messaging. It's a very simple way to contact one's loved ones, family, or friends simply over Wi-Fi or over mobile data. Snapchat has a lot of community features. There are public and private stories that users can post onto where they can decide who is allowed to see said posts. There's also a lot of communities derived from affiliations of certain universities. So Snapchat has a campus story feature which allows a community of people, of students that are affiliated with a certain university who attend a certain university to gather together and communicate via Snapchat. Campus stories allow students to post directly to other students, likely separated by class as of graduation date. This is no different with the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point, as they also have class-divided campus story groups. I do want to say that the university has made it very clear to me that they do not personally have any affiliation with Snapchat. They do not have any moderation or control over who is placed in these groups, who's allowed to go into these groups, what is allowed to be posted. Unfortunately, as wonderful as social media is, it has a lot of downfalls. This is true with these campus stories as well. In early August, an incoming freshman by the name of Anastasia Greer felt it appropriate to refer to the members of this campus story as an ableist slur, which really shocked and frankly upset a lot of students, including myself. I discussed the situation with a lot of other students, and I was able to collect some anonymous statements at that time about Anastasia's behavior and the behavior that she has expressed previous to this, and I was able to actually inform the university of said behavior. On September 13th, a situation involving Anastasia Greer occurred again, in where a other student of UWSP posted a interaction they had with Anastasia, in where she proceeded to insult and demean a traumatic injury that they had received prior. Again, I and a lot of people thought Anastasia's behavior was very out of line, and I believe I personally said a statement on the public story that this discussion was occurring on. I'm not quite sure what I said, probably to the extent of, hey, let's not be doing this to our fellow students. And upon having a post like that, I received several unnecessary comments and insults from fellow UWSP students Ella Foltz and Jaden Tapa. I do want to acknowledge that it truthfully is not my responsibility to call out bad behavior, and in my action of attempting to call out or to correct Anastasia's poor behavior, I definitely set myself up for a bit of a shock. It is not my responsibility to police what is and is not posted, and I take full responsibility of that. But even so, I feel Jaden and Ella's comments were incredibly unnecessary and incredibly disrespectful. Unfortunately, if that wasn't all, this video would be incredibly short. The night of October 2nd, there was a group chat created with 60 plus women from the UWSP Stevens Point campus. I believe this group chat was created to give the UWSP women a kind of a safe space, a bit of a place to talk and to discuss. It was very vulnerable, a very emotional situation. It got on the topic of men, it got on the topic of harassment, it got on the topic of men on campus who have made the women on campus very uncomfortable. And unfortunately, due to a situation that I am not very well versed on, so I will not comment on my knowledge of what actually occurred. I've heard it through the grapevine. I am not a direct source for this information. I've heard that there was a singular person from that group chat who decided to take a lot of the personal and vulnerable information that a lot of women had posted in said group chat and reveal it to the individuals that the statements were in confidence told in such a vulnerable state. Again, my awareness of the situation is very indirect. I am not quite sure the exact order of events. I believe there might have also been some type of physical altercation or confrontation, more like, but I had heard it several lines down through the grapevine, so I don't want to spread misinformation. I'm not confident that any physical situation ever occurred. Obviously, this was a pretty upsetting situation for a lot of the people involved. The group chat was pretty much disbanded. Every single person, which almost included 100 at that point, had decided to leave it. It seemed like a lost cause due to the structure of the perceived safety being pretty much demolished at the point. I'm someone who likes to be very self-aware. I pride myself on my accountability and looking within myself when I have made mistakes. That next morning after this situation occurred, I decided to post a statement on the campus story of 2027. The statement was something akin to this. I don't have the exact wording. I did not save the post. I didn't think it would, at the time, be as controversial as it ended up being, and I do want to take accountability in saying that this is a gross overgeneralization. It is not an appropriate statement to be made on a university story. It is not the appropriate audience to be shared with. In the statement, I refer to men as, I believe, like hunks of meat, which is incredibly generalizing and incredibly rude and a very incorrect statement. I do take full accountability for the inappropriateness of my actions, but I do not believe that this action and this statement deserved the onslaught that occurred afterwards. Marcus Laundrie Jr. is a freshman at UWSP as well as a student athlete on the UWSP football team. He posts I've never personally met Marcus. I've never interacted with him in person or online. I find the fact that my intimate life was being brought up by a complete stranger very disturbing. I don't understand why it was a necessary thing to post. I find it very sensitive and intimate information that is frankly none of Marcus's business. DJ Vernon is also a freshman athlete, a part of the UWSP football team. He posts,
a life, right? This bitch says get a life, right? This nigga is sitting in her room posting videos about shit nobody gives a fuck about.
See that.
You don't get your fucking Bean Boozle looking head ass out of here, bro. Go do some schoolwork. Like, come on, bro. Fat Albert needs a girlfriend. Get over there. Man, if y'all already didn't know, fat hoes need to shut up. Man, I promised myself I will not be back on this story, but I have to. Number one, we all care. It's because you're annoying as fuck. Number two, like I said before, fat hoes need to shut up. You're one of them. Cut that shit, bro. That breath smell like 10 cans of bounce that ass. Now back up.
As you can see, DJ directly refers to me as several derogatory terms. I find Marcus and DJ's behaviors and actions to reflect incredibly poorly on our student athletes, especially our football team. Behavior like this should absolutely not be expressed by our student athletes who are supposed to represent our school. Landon Hintz, a freshman, posts this in response to DJ's video.
Yeah, I fucking love you, bro.
Behind you, bro.
I fucking love you.
Jarvell Owens is also a freshman at UWSP, and he posts,
Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Nobody cares what you say, bro. Shut up. Man, I'm just saying it because she was starting shit, to be honest. We don't need another Anastasia fucking event in this motherfucker, for real. The story is for school purposes. For school. Shut the fuck up. You just getting on my ass because I'm black. That's exactly why.
I'm not attempting to take away accountability for my actions. Again, I recognize that my post was inappropriate, but I feel Jarvell's actions were also extremely inappropriate for the situation given. This point in my original post being unrelated to school and therefore inappropriate for the story. That is a completely valid criticism, and I take it to the heart, and I acknowledge that my post was not for the appropriate audience of the story. However, I do want to show a couple of posts I've gathered over the past few months that have also been posted to this campus story with absolutely no criticism. Marissa Kerbin, a freshman at UWSP, posts, I feel confident enough to say that Marissa's post truly was one of the ones that made me stop in my tracks. I have reread this post many times, and every time it genuinely makes me sick to my stomach. Needless to say, I find it incredibly inappropriate and frankly very disrespectful. Jaden Store, a freshman, posts, due to a situation that is currently ongoing, I am going to refrain from discussing Jaden. A comment I will make on Jaden's post is that I find it very hypocritical. Trent Waddell, a freshman, posts, I, again, find it incredibly strange that anyone would be speaking about my intimate life online. I have never once shared any personal information about myself with Trent, and even if I ever had, it is no business of his to be speaking about it online and in public. Trent and I have interacted a couple times in person at my desk job on campus. He has never been outright rude or disrespectful towards me in person. I have had Trent blocked on my Snapchat since July due to the fact that he seems to be incredibly argumentative, as well as seems to find personal offense to most things that I personally post on my stories. I have also been told by friends of mine who are acquaintances with Trent that he continues to speak about me personally at length in private conversations. I overall find Trent's behavior very disturbing. Jaden Tapa again posts,
You know what I think you should do? I think you should maybe shut up, stop talking, because you're just like making it worse than it has to be. You're the one having a problem with what everyone else is saying. Same with Sydney, so it's just gonna backfire onto you. This shit's just gonna continue. Maybe. Be smart. I know it's hard. Be smart. And shut the fuck up. Crazy thought.
And breath, maybe you should be concerned about it. If I can smell it through the fucking screen, Sydney, if I can smell it through the fucking screen, it's a problem, okay? If I can see that shit and smell it a mile away, that's a fucking problem. Yeah, I'm sensitive about that. Might be. Sorry, I take care of my teeth, unlike some people. Whoa. Shut the fuck up, please. Please.
I again find Jaden's behavior and actions incredibly rude and condescending. I do not understand particularly why she decides to take a lot of aggression out on me specifically. I also fail to understand how my dental hygiene has anything to do with the situation, as well as the fact that she claims she understands what my breath smells like despite the fact we have never met in person. Anastasia Greer posts, Anastasia then goes on to post a screenshot of a conversation between her and another UWSP student. Ryan Saran, a 22-year-old sophomore, sends her this. As you can see, Ryan is discussing physically harming me along with Anastasia and fellow classmate Ella Foltz. I took this post very seriously, as I perceived it as a direct threat on my well-being. Ryan also happened to be in one of my fall semester classes, but thankfully, due to a very understanding and thoughtful professor, Ryan was never an issue for me in that class. Tegan Viato posts, surprisingly, this one actually hurt me the most due to the fact that I had believed that me and Tegan had actually a very positive relationship before this interaction. We had previously discussed a couple of things online. Though never meeting in person, we'd always had a very respectful conversations. We even previously discussed our love for the CBS show Big Brother, hence why he mentions it in his post. I then go on to have a private message conversation with him in where he directly blames me for the actions of others as well as the harassment and violent threats I am receiving. He then directly calls me a narcissist and says that everyone who I tell this story to will directly blame me as well. I also received various other posts from students by the names of Alana Pimenita, Jacob Burbach, Cole Schneider, Andrew Ferris, Allison Baker, Alana Hilgert, and Hannah Siefer. All of these students are perceived freshmen as well, who I have all never met, never interacted online or in person, and frankly don't have faces to put to names. Due to the violent and upsetting nature of this situation, I personally decided to take an early weekend. Before I left, I informed my roommate of the situation and strongly encouraged her to continue to lock our dorm room door every time she enters and exits. I personally felt this situation was very unsafe for not only me, but for her well-being as well. During my long weekend, I took a long time to reflect and decide on what I wanted to do. I ended up making a report to the university hate and bias team as well to the university police station. I met with the head of the Diversity and College Access Department, Dr. Samantha Samrith, and while she is a lovely individual, very supportive and very kind, and there was nothing that her or her department could do about my situation. I also met with the UWSP Police Lieutenant Trina James to discuss said situation, and while again being very supportive and very kind, she essentially told me there was absolutely nothing her or her department could do about my situation. This unfortunately was not a closed incident. As of approximately 5 p.m. on Saturday, November 4th, an emergency alarm went off in Knutson Hall, the hall that I stay in, calling for an immediate evacuation of the hall. When exiting Knutson, I saw that there was a police car as well as a police officer who was currently entering the building. I decided to take a video of this on my phone and post it on the UWSP Campus 2027 story. Unfortunately, Jade and Tapa seemed to take personal offense to this post. Ella Foltz also decided to comment. Ella Foltz then decided to directly message my boyfriend on Snapchat till she is discussing her hatred towards me. She claims it is often due to my appearance as well as my annoying behavior. Ella Foltz then adds my boyfriend into a group chat with Jaden Tapa as well as another UWSP student, Everett Heimstra. In said group chat, they go on to discuss their extreme dislike of my appearance, my personality, my body, and my behavior. Often boiling down to, I am an annoying individual with poor hygiene. Throughout this string of text, it even comes to the fact that they attempt to refer to my boyfriend as gay in a derogatory term, which I find not only disrespectful but incredibly outdated. Through Ella Foltz's messages to my boyfriend, it is revealed that she claims Ryan Saran keeping pictures of me on his phone, and according to Ella Foltz, is in love with me. This made me incredibly uncomfortable. I again made the university aware of this harassment, and while I received a very sympathetic email from Dr. Sam, she inherently told me that she has no control over what is posted on Snapchat, the university has no moderation of that, and there was essentially nothing she could do but meet with me regarding how to regulate my emotional health during situations like this. I gladly declined this offer as I have been in therapy for many years of my life. I feel very confident in my coping skills as well as my support system of family and friends. On November 8th, around 12:50 p.m., I was shouted at in public on my way to class to, quote, shut up by name. On November 15th, my resident assistant that someone had filed a noise complaint on me, specifically my resident assistant, and told her that I was not a dorm room at the time the complaint was filed, nor had I been that night previously. In fact, neither me or my roommate were in my dorm room this noise complaint was filed. My resident assistant even told me in confidence that she has never once heard me or my room be louder than necessary. On December 16th, another online situation with a classmate, Alex Jordan, occurred. Alex has been known to heckle me online. I find his little jabs and comments incredibly disrespectful and unnecessary. The fact he continuously needs to discuss me and the things that I post, I find very strange. Luckily, a good handful of other UWSP students also called him out on his incredibly unsettling and creepy behavior. Due to the timing of this, I was truthfully kind of burnt out. I decided that it was not worth putting that much energy into. I made the university aware, and as of right now, Dr. Sam has offered to meet with me again, as well as the Dean of Students. This video has been long in the making. It has been incredibly difficult to get through. It's been months and months of collecting and working and reading and writing and rewriting. I've attempted to record this video 3 or 4 times. And to attempt to sum up my feelings in a concise statement is incredibly difficult. I've been through a lot of complex highs and lows in my life. Luckily, I am a confident enough individual to take most things on the chest, to attempt to put my best foot forward. Though I am still a human being, and insults and derogatory terms and harassment and threats of violence still do get to me as a person. I even had fear using the public shower stalls due to the fact that they're not lockable. I had this irrational anxiety that someone was going to actually come physically attack me while I was showering, so I only used the handicap stall due to the fact that it could lock. I sometimes felt so just incredibly emotionally drained that I thought, why am I being the better person in this situation? Why am I not stooping down to their level? Why I cannot find good reason to continue doing this. Maybe it comes from a nativity, maybe it comes from a community of like-minded individuals. I personally have never been severely bullied or harassed until these situations, but it is incredibly shocking that behavior like this is still prevalent today. I'm bewildered that this is a continuing and abrupt thing that happens to many students, not only to me, especially on the UWSP campus, and is continued to be ignored by authority figures. The University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point has made it clear that these students that express behaviors such as these mentioned in this video are valued by them, and they choose to protect these students over students like myself. By protecting students like this, UWSP is inherently claiming that these students are an accurate representation of the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. I do fully understand that certain people and certain departments do have extents on what they are and are not allowed to do in certain situations such as mine. The University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point has made it clear that they do not value their students' emotional, mental, or physical well-being on their campuses. I am also unfortunately aware that my situation is not uncommon on the UWSP campus. I know of several other students dealing with similar things. I have even been told by one of my professors who is new to the school that they have never interacted with a more disrespectful student campus than this one. I have taken a long time to think and thoroughly plan out my words, my actions, coming forward with this information. I have received genuine concern from family, friends, and even acquaintances that this post, this video, as well as the several other statements I'm going to be making online will likely paint a bigger target on my back. And while this is something I absolutely am concerned about and absolutely took into heavy consideration, I did not feel comfortable keeping this private. I feel for not only my sake, but the sake of all UWSP students and all future possible UWSP students that this information be shared. In 100% honesty, I am actually incredibly relieved that these individuals chose to target me and not someone else. I have spent years of my life tearing myself down, as well as being surrounded by negative thoughts, emotions, and people. I am incredibly lucky to be where I am today, that I am self-confident enough, self-loving enough, and surrounded by a loving and incredible support system that this harassment is not preventing me from living my life. I could not genuinely imagine if they had chosen a target with one or more lesser of those qualities. Harassment like this is what costs us innocent lives. Hate, bias, harassment, and violence have no place on the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point campus or any University of Wisconsin school. Abusive and vulgar behavior absolutely need to be addressed by administration and staff of the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. Harassers should not be prioritized over their victims.